Hi, I'm T-Wiz and I'm learning data analysis with Python at All School Africa. Welcome to my beginner-friendly series. Today, we'll be talking about variables and data types in Python, the foundation of programming. As explained in the last video, so today I'll be showing us what the platform and the interface look like on Anaconda, the Jupyter Notebook I'll be using. So if you're just starting out or you want to refresh your basics, this video is for you. So in our last video, I uploaded a link on my description on how to go about downloading Anaconda. So once it's installed, this is how it's going to look like. You see all the packages. We have PyCharm, we have Jupyter, we have Oracle. So what we're concerned about mostly is this Jupyter Notebook and the Jupyter Lab. So now we're going to launch the Jupyter Lab. So what we need is a notebook, Jupyter Notebook. So we open this, then it's pop up this. Sometimes if you just launch the Jupyter Lab, it's just pop this up. So now we are in the Jupyter Notebook. So I'll just want us to rename this. You right click and rename notebook. So since I want to be using this for YouTube video, I'll just YouTube video. Then make sure this is not cancelled. This IPYNB, that's Python Notebook. That's telling the computer that what you're saving is Python Notebook. Because if you cancel it, the computer will not recognize it. It's just like an Excel file too. After you want to save it, you have XLS. So can you see we've renamed this? I just want to show us. So this is where you're holding and you want to save this to save, or you can just Control S. Then this insert cell. These are called cells. This each are called cells. So you can just click to add numerous cell. Then after maybe writing code and you really want to cancel off or anything, you can just cut it off. Then this adds. After writing code, this copy, and you can use it to copy the cell, the whole cell. Then this is to run your cell. Maybe after you're done coding, you can just press this, or better still, just press Shift Enter for a shortcut. Shift Enter, then the cell will run. This is to stop your kernel when programming is running. It's just like you playing a movie and you pause, you play, you stop. So this is the play, this is the stop. Then this is to restart the kernel. Assuming you've been writing code to all these cells now, then you can just restart. We also have this. During the course, you see what this is for code. If you want to code inside, then this is what Markdown is for you to just label or give a title to whatever code you're writing. But the Python will not run it because everything you write in this cell, you are instructing the Python to run it, and everything written, the Python will run. So not to be giving you error, because sometimes you might not even want to write code, you might just want to explain whatever you've written. So is that you mark it down or you just turn it to a comment. The comment will be coming about experiments later in the video. So as all been taught in All School Africa, to start with our hello world, what everyone has been waiting for. So we instruct, and if you need any outputs in Python, you just instruct it to print. Well, in Python, in Jupyter Notebook, mostly sometimes you might not even need to call out the function print before it pops out. You can just type it. I will show you the instructions. I will show you how it's done now. But in Google Colab, you have to, and other programming language, you have to instruct the program that it should print, it should give you the output. Now, so let's say print hello world. So we're instructing the Jupyter to do this, then you can just go here to run it, pressing the play button there, or better still, shift enter. I just write shift enter. You can also do it like this. Just call it out. Sorry. So right now, for the print hello world, I pressed the play button. For this hello world, I just shift enter, and that is it. But the main difference is, you can see for the print hello world, it's brought out the word hello world without the apostrophe. But now this is just telling Python to print out whatever it is, and it's brought out the hello world with the apostrophe. So now this line, these are codes, but I want to show us markdown, what markdown can do. So for the previous video, we talked about the variable and setting up. Variable and setting up. So for this, if I should test shift enter, it's going to give me syntax error, because these are just no instruction on what Python should do with it. So it's going to tell me syntax error. So I want Python to just ignore this, because I'm just using it to label my word. So for a programmer that you want to be writing code for a coder, to practice good coding ethics, you have to label or give title to whatever you are doing in Python, so that it's readable. Because most times you read code more than you write code in Python. You basically read code more than you write code. So for this, I just want to tell the Python to ignore it. So I'll just come here, mark it down. See, the error is gone. So now this is just serving as a title. So then now the Python has ignored this totally. I'm just using it to give a title or heading to what I want to write, so that we won't be lost in whatever. And if I want to come back to this kernel, I'll know that, okay, this was what I did here. Because by the time you are writing thousands and thousands of code, and you need to go back up to check whatever you've written, and you don't add any heading, any pointer on what you are doing, it will take time for you to just pick on what you've been doing. So as we've talked in the previous video, that variables are storage space. Variables are cookie jar where cookies are stored, as the illustration I placed. They are just placeholder for different items, and the items or objects can be any data type. It can be string, it can be it can even be a list. Yes, it can even be a list, it can be floats, it can be an integer number. So let's get started. So for variables, we said variables are storage space. So the example I made in the last video was that as a storage space, you can use it to as a cookie jar. You can put in different flavors of cookies. Yes, so let's get started. We have, and to assign a variable, you use the equals to, the assignment. My name is Esther. So for this, the Python is here to recognize anything, because if I should say shift enter, it will take it, but it will bring up error because it's not defined. This is a string, and for string in Python, it has to have an apostrophe. By the time we get to different data type, you understand. Just go with me. You can see it doesn't pop up any error. So I said H. For integers, it doesn't need to be an apostrophe, because the Python will recognize that, okay, this is an integer. But for string, it has to be an apostrophe. You have to close it up in a quote, otherwise it won't recognize it. So shift enter, which means you already stored this, and Python already recognizes that, okay, if we should call on name, Esther is coming out, and if we should call on age, 25 is coming out. So okay, print. Now we want to know what name is. Print name. Then you can just enter and say print age. Shift enter. So we've instructed the Python to print name and to print age, which is Esther at 25. Whereas, assuming we've not stored it in a variable now and we've not assigned Esther and 25 to a variable, we just have to type print Esther, print 25. After that, if we want to continue our program and we need to continue with Esther at 25, it will just be typing and its numerous. But once we tell the Python, okay, this is what we want for Esther, this is what we want for 25. Once you start programming, just okay, age, the Python already know what to do. So where you want the name, where you want the age, everything will be in it. So and as I've said, there are rules. There are rules. Rules for writing variables. So the rules to writing variables, this has been marked down. So the first rule is that when you name a variable, it can only contain letter, numbers, and underscore. It can't have any other character. Okay. Let me say okay, my variable. And mind you, Python is case sensitive. Python is case sensitive. I will run it and you'll see what I'm talking about. So if I say my variable, you have to name intuitively. I want to write okay, like a variable, so I can say a variable like var to represent a variable like var variable. Because okay, I cannot want to name a variable now and just say okay, let me use example up to store a name. Like this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't make any sense. To you, it might be making sense, but when others want to read your code, as I've said earlier, you'll be reading code more than you're writing. You don't understand this, but as it implies here, name, okay, a name. Esther is a name. So to the first rule, you have a variable that you want to assign. Then you say var. Okay, this is still an abbreviation of the variable. Then I say var, okay, is to then this won't bring out error because, and there are some errors that they are not even, Python won't bring it out as error, but they are called logical errors. Because by the time you start writing codes and everything is just piled up, you'll be prone to make mistakes when you name your variable wrong. So for this, the Python will accept that because, and when you read okay, this is variable and then, so it can contain number. You can say var1, when you say shift enter, is running it. You can say var2 is running it. So let me just introduce us to comment. Comment is like you are labeling what you write so that you will know at a point, okay, this is what I have here. So if you want to do that, writing a comment, you just need to put an hash tag, then first one, variable must contain letters, numbers, and underscore only. So what you're saying here is, as for this comment, you can see the color changed and it's in Italy. You are telling the Python that okay, this thing I'm writing is just like Markdown, but at the same time, this thing I'm writing, you will run it, but it's just there. It's not part of the program I'm writing. So if I press shift enter, the Python will just run it. It's no pop-up error. I'm just telling it okay, I just want to label what I'm doing. This is a comment on what I'm doing. So the Python will just run it and, well, if I did not put this, mind you, I press shift enter, it's going to pop up invalid syntax because it's not assigned or you are not instructing Python on what to do. So that is so Variable must contain letters, number, and underscore. No character, no space. Let me run this. So if I say var, then I'm assigning it to 10. Python has run it. So if I say underscore var, so now watch this. If I should create a space, now if I say okay, my age and assign it to 25, invalid syntax because there is space in between. When naming your variables, you can't put space. So if you need to separate the word you want to write, just put an underscore. Then, and so I will have characters too. I placed an underscore and Python run it. If we should put a dash in between, it's not going to run it. It will pop up an error. So then also variables cannot start with a number. It can start with a number, but a number can be included in your variable when naming your variable, like the var1 was say 20, say invalid decimal literal. But now we said one var, want to read, then let me cancel the one and put it forward. You see, it can start with a number. Then mind you, I was telling you Python is very case sensitive. Now you can see this. I used a small letter V for my var1. So assuming I want to print this, then my V is now in capital letter. The reason why this gave me 10 was because I already ran a code that has a capital letter in it. Because I already ran a code, I've got again. Let me try my H. Okay. H. Now you see, name my H is not defined. This my H is with a small letter M. So let me change it to a small letter M. And you see what I'm talking about. So shift enter. And you see it comes up 25. So when naming your variable and you use capital letter, always maintain it. So it's always advisable to just, your variable should just be in small letter mostly. Just type in small letter. Because by the time you start typing and you just made a mistake not putting your cap lock in any of the variable you mentioned, it's going to pop up error. So spaces are not allowed in your variable naming. When you want to assign a variable, you are not allowed space like this for one. Now let me just click this as error, shift enter, so you can see spaces. So now, so that when I want to go back to what I'm saying, I'm not okay, what did I do here? I can just add a comment to hashtag line spacing is not allowed. Because when I close this kernel and I come back and I'm like, there's an error here. What's going on with this error? Why is an error here? Whereas I want to leave the it there deliberately, because don't be afraid to make mistake. That's one thing our instructor told us. Error. Don't be afraid to make mistake. It will open your eyes to learn more and more. I don't say I'm perfect too. Even writing this, I don't say I'm perfect. But when you make mistake and your program pops up error, you'll be able to go back and see what you did wrong or what the missing piece. Then you're able to put it. When next you're doing that, you will have it at the back of your mind. Okay, when I did like this, it pops up an error. I can do it better. So line spacing is not allowed. Then also, when you're labeling a variable, it should be descriptive. Like I've said, I want to write a name now. I want to assign a variable to a name. Then I'm writing the variable container. I'm labeling it up. How? So if I should label the cookie jar name, then I'm putting names inside. Okay, Esther. I'm putting Victor. I'm putting Linda inside it. you know that, okay, this is a name. Not that I will name the container hub and I'm putting names. It will confuse your reader. When someone wants to make use of the code, they need to go extra mile to get it. Because I've said it, you are reading code more than you are writing code. So, one, variable must contain letter, number, and underscore. No other thing, only. The line spacing is not allowed. If you must put space, hyphen, just put the underscore. The hyphen is not allowed, put the underscore. So, and also, do not confuse readers with variable names with a letter that are similar to numbers, like figure 1 and high. This, and let me just even use a cap like this. It's when you look at it, if it's someone that like isn't patient enough to check it out that it is different, you'll be seeing 11. You'll be seeing 11 with this. You'll be seeing 11 with this, whereas it is 1i. Or let me say I1, because a variable cannot start. Let's say I1 is assigned to 11. Python will read it. Python will run it. But as I've said earlier, they are what we call logical errors. Because so the Python, it is not an error, but when you're looking at it like, why is 11 equals to 11? Whereas it is high 1 equals to 11. Python just run through it because to Python it is different. But to us, when you at like, why is this 11 equals to 11? So let me just leave all this. I need to just brush it off. So avoid logical errors, and so letter similar. So do not use letters similar to numbers. So there are a lot of rules, and all these rules is not that maybe the Python will pop up error. There is no error in it. No, sometimes just give you logical error. The Python will run it, yes, but when you are reading it, you can get confused. So that's what it is. Then also, we should avoid using Python reserved name for keywords. So let me just comment. Avoid using Python reserved name for keywords and function. So what am I talking about here? There are some operations you need to carry out. It is the words and instruction for Python. But if you include it in your variable naming, it will definitely confuse the program. So some of it is okay, print. Some of the word is print, and I've been using print. Okay, you now want to name a variable. I said print is equal to, I am assigning it to a variable. It will run it because you've assigned print to as a variable to 70. But by the time the logical error pops up, you'll be confused because by the time you type print, and when you are reading it, there's no way you'll be confused. So the words like print, we have for, we have and, we have for. Sometimes this word are inevitable for you to use, and like when I was typing this now, these numbers and underscore only. If you check when I was typing it, you can see that the word was in green and it's kind of bold. But later I marked it down. So it's just for the it's part of my words I was writing. See, rules for writing variables, but it's part of my marked down words. But what I'm saying is, when you are writing your codes, be mindful of all these keywords and functions in Python. There are more and more to it. If you want, like, just shift tab. All this int, by the time we start, you will see the int, these words, avoid them in variable, assigning variable. Yes, avoid them in assigning variable, naming your variable. Because sometimes Python will not pop up error, but it will. Let me do this in comments so that when I run it, it's not okay. So adding more cells because it's continuous. So there is more and more rules to writing variables. Some you know now as a beginner like me, and some it is when you start writing your program. That's when you start coding. That's when you're like, why is this thing popping up an error? Okay, I can do this better. I can't do this in naming variables because to you, mistakes are bound to happen when you name your variables like that. So now we move to common data types in program as explained in the last video. So I want to show us the data types. So common data types. In Python, see, part of the keywords and function in Python. Can you see this? But I won't be bothered because I'm marking this down. So this doesn't mark down. So we have string. For the first one, we have the string. So as explained in the last video, this are just the words in Python. So like when I assign name to this is popping up error. Why? Because I've explained anything string must have an apostrophe. So I have more and more example. We have this name. Okay, what else? We have, let's say, flavor. Always remember, it is always better to have your string in quotes so your program when it runs, it won't pop up error for you. So and also it doesn't matter if you use a single quote or a double quote. I can just use single in a normal instance, but when you want to have your string like this, let's see. I'm trying to look for a quick example that will. So yes, a person is better. So let's see. So let's run this. So can you see what I did here? I'm 25 years old. Can you see this single apostrophe? This single, then can I press shift enter? See, it's popping up that there is error in line 4, and this is our line 4 in this cell system. This is our line 4, my age. Because literally, what you are telling Python to do is ignore from here to here. This is what I'm having business with. Whereas these are not divine because in our string we have an apostrophe. I'm writing single apostrophe outside because from this high to this now, this is an open and this is a close. So what we can do is we can just introduce the double quotes in it, the double quotes. So by the time we press shift enter, you see, the Python didn't have any problem with it. And also this chocolate, you can make it, put it into double quotes. Let me just do that real quick. So either you put it in a single quote or a double quote, it doesn't matter. So shift enter, you see, Python doesn't have any issue with that. So we have the integer. we have the integer, which is denoted as int in Python. Because in Python, there's what we call type checking. We want to check, but we are coming to that. Let's just finish the common data type in Python. So now we have the string, we have the integer. These are usually whole number. They are usually whole number. Mostly whole number, because integers are of two types. Like numbers are of two types in Python. We have the whole number, we have the decimal. So we are coming to that. So like when I assign that age is 25. We have height. Okay, height can still be in decimal. Let's just use weight. Weight. So when we press enter, doesn't have any. So we have the usual whole number. It can be in thousands. It can be in thousands. So we also have the float. We have the string, integer, float. So it's being denoted as floats. So these are just decimal number. Otherwise known as fraction. Otherwise even known as all these fraction, 1/2, 1/3. But in Python, most of the time, you can just represent it in decimal place. So we have the height. I'm assigning it. I said the height is 5 inches. We have pi. So we got 3.175. No, it's 1.7, no, 1.4. Yeah, 1.4. So these are floats. These are the floats. So in the last video, I didn't mention this. We also have Boolean too. There is Boolean. Later known as the for. So these are basically the true and false. The true, or false. So, okay, is this person a student? Is this person a student? So, you can say true. So, when you call for a student, so to pop up true, that truly the person is a student. So, there are also advanced data types like lists and dictionaries. So, these are popping up in videos to come. I will explain more and more about that. Lists are just accumulation of different data types. Can be same data types. Let me just pop an example. We also have lists. So you have to name your variable intuitively. So LST, at least you can list. So why naming a list? It has to be in, so you can have different data type inside it. You can have the string, you can have string inside it. You can have for lists, you can have different data type inside it. You have 25. You can have different. I want us to just put the different data type inside so you can see what I'm talking about. So we have, so you can hold different data type, or you can make it the same data type. Like if you need a list of students in a class, you can just put out the names, which will be in string. The list for age, and put it out. So then we have the dictionaries. So I'm just taking this list as an example. I'm talking about that in other videos to come. So just try assigning your own variable and check your data type with the function. So data type checking. You see, you've given example of different data types here. So now let's work on the data, how to check data type. So what would you again? Mark this down. I want to check data type. So the Python, you could see before I marked it down, this cell box was there, but immediately I marked it down, it disappeared. So now to check data type, you use the type function. Okay. You want to know the type of data that is in the stored in the variable. But you just don't want to just merely looking at it that okay, this is string, this is integer. Because sometimes you can convert your integer to a string. What you just need to do is put an apostrophe. So arithmetic operation won't be carried out on any string converted to any integer converted to string. Sorry, rather. So to check your data type and you want to output it, and I've said before, if you want to output anything, you use the print. So print. After using the print, then you want to know print will always have this. Then you want Python to output what the data type is. Or sometimes if I not even put print, I will run the two. I just follow me. So print, then you use the type function. Type. That will also be in the brackets too. Let's start from the string. So name, what name is? So shift enter. Say int object. To check data type, we use the type function. Print object is not. Sorry, just 1 minute. I want to, because not every time I just do this. I just do this most of the time. I don't use the print. So I wanted to try it and it's not working. So checking the type for name, you see, after string is denoted as str in Python, as you can see. So you can still go like, let's just take type. We are checking for everything. So flavor. It's not necessarily use my example. You can put in your name, the name of your best friend, or whatever you want to use. Just make sure you understand whatever you are doing. So my H. So by the time we do the shift enter. And also, it's not popping up for each line, because you might think it's popping up for each line. I just want us to understand this. It is popping up for just the last, because if it's read the 3 lines, it's supposed to pop up string, string, string. But it's only reading for the last line. It's reading for the last line. So because I pressed enter and no continuation or tab or anything. See, string, string, string. You can still put the space and everything. So if you want to do a continuation of a code in itself, it's always advisable to put a comma. So that, and to make the Python knows that it is a continuation. I don't know if you get me. So to check for the 66, cell 66, so we do type. We do type h. See, it's an integer int. We also do the type h2. Wait. See, put that int. So for the floats, let's just do pi. See, float. Then type of a student. So this basically I'll just check type of what your variable contain, the data type that is in your variable. So I'm just trying to check all through. 1 or 2 examples is just what I want to check all through so you understand what I'm talking about. See, good. Okay. Then on to the last one. We have a type for LST. So the list. The main purpose of this type checking is so as to know the type of the arithmetic or mathematical operation that can be done on each variable stored. Now, it's a list. This list, there is limited operation that can be carried out. But for this float and integer, different arithmetical operation can be carried out on them. Multiplication, division, board mass can be carried out. For string, you cannot say, okay, you want to multiply my name by my age. It will give you error because string and integer is a no. But now you can say you want to multiply my age and my weight. From my height, from my weight, you can calculate my BMI, my body mass index. So all this for my Boolean now, true and false, you know what you do with it. But if you don't know the type of data type, you just like, okay, let me just multiply this, or let me carry out arithmetical operation on this variable name I'm seeing because it feels like it's an integer that is in it. And alas, it's a string that is inside it. It will definitely pop up error. So it's just for you to know the arithmetical operation that can be carried out on each variable saved um, in the Python program. So doing a quick recap. So the print hello world, or you can just say hello world. We talked about the variable and you setting up. So you're assigning variable. So let me just do the comment. You assign variable. So you assign variable with equals to sign. So you have Esther stored in name, 25 stored as age. Then to call out what you stored in the variable, use print. So we told Python to print out the name and the age. Then we put out this. Then we talked about the rules in writing variable. Variable must contain letter, number, and underscore only. No space, no line spacing, no other character, no hyphen, just underscore. So then it cannot start with figure. Variables cannot start with figure. It can only start with letter or underscore. So yeah. So no line spacing is allowed, as I left the error, so we can see that the print my age. Anything print is telling the Python to output what you already stored in the variable. Then do not use letter similar to figure, as I've explained. High one, and you're storing a label inside the high one variable. It's looking confusing already. So then you should avoid using Python reserved name for keywords and function, like the word print, for, and, or, in, string, in. All those. Then we move to the common data type in Python. We have the string, we have the integer, we have the float, we have the boolean. Then there are two other special data types. We have the list and the dictionary. So I'll just take an example of what list is and what it can contain. I'll contain any data type, or you can just be specific that what you want to store inside this list is integer, what you want to store inside this list is string. So then we move to data type checking, on how to check data type that is stored in your variable. So instead of straining yourself on, okay, this should be integer, you can just type the variable stored the name. So just using the type function, type puts the variable name, and Python will bring out what type of data type that is inside your variable stored. So that's what you learned about that today. So in the next video, we will dive deeper into operations we can perform on these data types, as I was explaining different arithmetical operations that can be carried out. So more examples to come. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more beginner friendly Python tutorial.